Good morning. We're going to start with Joy to the World, number 245. Please stand if you'd like. Joy to the world, the word is come. Let earth with praises ring. Let every heart prepare a room, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the earth, now gladness reigns. Let hearts their songs employ, while fields and floods, rocks, hills, and plains repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat, repeat the sounding joy. No more let sins and sorrows grow, nor thorns infest the ground. Let righteousness its glory show, as far as love is found, as far as love is found, as far as love is found.
Good morning. Welcome all to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane. I do appreciate you braving the icy roads. They were a little slicker than I was expecting this morning, so thank you all for those of you who've come in person for doing that. We're glad you got here safely, and thanks to all of those that are streaming with us this morning too, as well as those on Zoom. We'll talk to you in just a couple of minutes, but I want to begin as always by reminding you why we come together as a community to create a nourishing, liberal religious home and to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in the wider world. Or in short, we say to create community, find meaning, and work for justice. What was it you suggested that we change that to? Live justly. I like that better. You do? Okay. We're changing it right now.
So should we say that again?
Yes, we're going to practice it. We've been saying it this way for years, but we can change. Okay, so instead of in work for justice, it's in live justly. And live justly. Or in short, to create community, find meaning, and live justly. Hey, thank you. That's good. Good suggestion. Yes. It's less pretentious and puts the onus on us, doesn't it? Yeah. You're brilliant. Okay, I want to also begin, as always, by welcoming you all to this space this morning, whether you are here in person, whether you're a regular or joining us for the first time, or if you're streaming with us or Zooming with us. We're so glad to have all of you and all that you bring with you, all of your uniqueness, your unique beliefs, your background, your lifestyle, your experiences, your differences, all of those things that sometimes get left out in other churches are embraced here. So glad to have all of you. Sadly, we need to begin today by noting that our unity candle is lit at the front of our sanctuary. This is something we do when we've lost one of our members during the week. And on Friday morning, Wayne Atwood passed away, for those who haven't heard. Wayne was a longtime member of this congregation, incredibly supportive of this congregation, incredibly supportive of me, and I consider him a dear friend. His passing came as a surprise, even though he was 95 years old. He'd been in pretty good health and fortunately did not linger and suffer long. But it was a surprise, and Anyway, we'll be thinking of Michelle and Denise's daughters, as well as the rest of their family at this time. And no memorial service has been set yet, but we'll be letting you know, of course, when that's going to occur. But for now, we're going to leave Wayne's candle lit in honor of his life and his light in our lives. I do want to promote one announcement you'll see in your upcoming events in your bulletin, that next Sunday we're going to have our tree decorating and winter cookie sale. And we, in recent years, I think maybe last year was the first time we shifted this to Sunday as part of our service rather than as a separate event. And so you'll come and you'll get an ornament. And during our time for all ages, you get up and go put it on the tree. And between this congregation and those that congregate for our second service, in a matter of no time at all, we will have created a beautiful Christmas tree. So, and then there will be cookies that I don't know what the cookies the sale will be going to this time. Maybe somebody knows. I don't know. No. The children are fundraising. The children are decorating the cookies and fundraising. So bring cash. Very expensive cookies. Yes, I know, because people tend to give very generously. So be prepared for that, and wanted to give you a heads up about that. We certainly want to support their efforts and enjoy that time of the holiday season as well. Okay, I want to say hi to our folks on Zoom. If Shelley will bring them up for us, so we can see them. Looks like we have a pretty good crowd. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Todd.
Hi, everybody's waving from the sanctuary at you. You can't see them, I don't think, but how are you? Was that Stephen?
Yeah, I'm the social host, and we have about 11, 12 people on Zoom. You can't see them all right now. And some of the usual suspects and a few people who are now becoming regulars, I wanted to particularly Mariah for the last couple of days. Mariah, you want to say hello from Hillsboro, Oregon?
Goodness, put on the spot. No, up or anything. Hello, Reverend Elcock. How are you?
Hi, it's good to see you. You might get just a little closer to your microphone, if you will. But yes, it's great to see you. Glad you're able to attend on Zoom. I appreciate all the NAUA events you show up for. Okay, we're having a little bit of audio trouble today, but
we're getting more.
What's that, Stephen?
We're having more and more people join as the service goes on. So I think right now we're up to about 13, 14, and I wouldn't be surprised we'll be.
Well, that's close to what we have in the sanctuary
Close to
this
20
morning.
by the time and stuff.
Well, it's great to have all of you, and I hope you continue to pop in and enjoy the service as much as we enjoy having you with us. And let's take a moment now to, as is our custom on Sundays, to greet one another. So please say hello to those you look forward to seeing, and make some new friends today. If you are joining us for the first time, don't be shy.
Okay, well, I muted the sanctuary so we could unmute and say hello to one another for a few minutes. I see Ron.
Oh, thank you. There'll be more time to visit during our social hour following the service, but let's move forward now by lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith, the symbol of our unity and our solidarity, of our openness and our inclusion, of our community and our individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need, and may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt wherever it's been found.
For my opening reflection today, I'm going to share a poem that my wife Lynn's father wrote called The Search. His name is Nelson Ottenhausen. We are self-ordained to search for something. Sometimes we do so in the past, sometimes we do so in the future, but seldom do we do so in the present, for that is where everything happens. We fill our brains with clatter of past regrets and future fantasies, yet we rarely see the countryside, the ruts in the road, or nature in the now. For that is where everything happens. And in my throat. We are not always aware of the trees, of the flowers, or that we even breathe. We pay little heed to our immediate existence and remove ourselves from the moment of living, for that is where everything happens. Whatever passage we choose to lose ourselves from our true being, it will always remain as a fingerprint on our destiny, and someday it will become clear that we are always at the beginning, for that is where everything happens.
Please stand. Join me for number 256, Winter Night. Winter night, clear and bright, a weary world is sleeping, and then a cry fills earth and sky, a newborn child is weeping. Hush-a-bye, lullaby, blessed little baby. Drops of pain flow like rain, tell why your tears are falling. For humankind so frail, unkind, or for your own life's calling. Hush-a-bye, lullaby, blessed little baby. Holy child, every child, your life will have its season, and each new day your heart may pray for grace, for peace, for reason. Hush-a-bye, lullaby, blessed little baby.
Candles of care, actually. So we are going to now kindle our candles of care on behalf of those that we are most thinking of this morning. And we'll begin, as we have been, on behalf of the people of Ukraine and that part of the world that are being impacted by the war and violence there, as well as the people of Israel and Palestinians who are being impacted by the terrible violence. there. Also want to kindle a candle today for Tanya and Kurt Workmaster, members of our congregation. Both are having some health issues. Tanya in particular has some very serious health issues. So please keep both of them in your thoughts at this time as well. We do want to take a moment of silence on behalf of others that you might be thinking of, and as always, you're welcome to name them aloud if you'd like. Those named aloud and those embraced in our silence, and all those who are suffering in our world at this hour, we hold in our community with compassion. And we now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which helps sustain this community and our mission to the larger world. Thank you, Madeline. Thank you, Maura. One of the really interesting things about Madeline as you get to know her, lots of times when you find out somebody's a singer, you might ask, well, oh, do you play an instrument? Of course, there's her guitar right there, but Madeline will tell you that her body is her instrument. This is what she's been developing as a singer to play, and I think that piece demonstrated that well. So thank you. So this is our time for all ages, and I know that we don't have children here with us our first service, but hopefully you'll enjoy this anyway. First, ask a couple of questions. I'll ask the kids these, but they're kind of rhetorical questions. One is, how many of you have ever had a thought about something? 2 of you? 3? Okay. Everybody has had a thought about something, right? How many of you have ever had a feeling about something? Everybody here thinks and feels. Is that correct? Okay. So this reminds me of something I read in the book, The Wizard of Oz. How many of you have actually read The Wizard of Oz as opposed to just seeing it? So the same people who think and feel, it looks like. So they were, the Scarecrow and Tin Woodman were arguing about which was going to be better to ask the wizard for, a brain or a heart. And this is how the conversation went. All the same, said the Scarecrow, I shall ask for brains instead of a heart, for a fool would not know what to do with a heart if he had one. I shall take the heart, returned the Tin Woodman, For brains do not make one happy, and happiness is the best thing in the world. Dorothy did not say anything, for she was puzzled to know which of her two friends was right. Now, being a child of the 70s, I saw this same argument often played out between Dr. McCoy and Mr. Spock on the television series Star Trek. And it often went something like this. Let me see if I can get some help here. There we go. Okay. Go ahead. It's important to think logically. Use your feelings, man, you're half human. Doctor, you are thinking scientifically, or are you thinking emotionally? I'm a doctor, not a computer. So, there's a time when Captain Kirk was turned into two people, you may remember, in a transporter accident. One was very angry, one was very timid, and they were going to have to do something very dangerous, life-threatening, to put the two halves back together. Please leave me out of this. I have a splitting headache already. All right, will do. Jim, you can't risk your life on a theory. Being split in half is no theory to me, Doctor. I have a human half as well as an alien half, constantly at war with each other. I survive it because my intelligence wins over both, makes them live together. Then there was the time they were trying to escape an alien planet, but ran back to save Spock, even though they didn't have time and he had ordered them to leave without him. I told you to lift off. I told you to lift off. Don't be a fool, Mr. Spock. We couldn't leave you out there. The logical thing for you to have done was to leave me behind. Spock, remind me to tell you that I'm sick and tired of your logic. That is most illogical. So, maybe Dorothy had it right. We have to learn to think well and feel well and invite both along the yellow brick road. She's smart enough to take both the Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman on her journey, just as Captain Kirk is fortunate to have both Mr. Spock and Dr. McCoy aboard the Enterprise. Which one? Mr. Spock is the most cold-blooded man I've ever known. Why, thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
The kids are going to love that.
I hope so. I don't know if the kids will love it as much as you did, though. So
I might go down there and watch it in the second service here.
Okay.
So. At this time, I'd like to invite you into a time of meditation. Adjust your position so you're comfortable. Close your eyes. Relax with a slow, deep breath in. Breathe out. And reflect on this thought. Ubuntu is a philosophy espoused by, amongst many in sub-Saharan Africa, Archbishop Desmond Tutu. It is a Nguni term meaning humanity. It is sometimes translated as I am because we are, or humanity towards others. Its fundamental tenet is that a person is a person only through other persons, not the Western idea of I think, therefore I am, but instead and more simply, I am because you are. We exist and are uplifted only through our connection to another person. We will be good and noble and our biggest and most beautiful versions of ourselves only through the eyes and hearts of others. We flourish only in response to another human being. Something to think about.
my song for the interlude with the topic. It's a little bit cheeky, but I thought it might introduce the sermon. We'll see. I wrote it as part of a song cycle and story for a solstice. And it was the story of a woman that goes down into an underground labyrinth and has philosophical conversations. This is one of the songs. Like a monster in my closet, a delusion of the mind that makes me check behind the door, intending there to find a wandering new adventure or an ending to my life. I engage with all attention as if it hinges on tonight. Delusion's state is powerful, it shapes how we behave with our imagination in a hallucination cave. Know when it's imagination, and know when something's real that senses can perceive and muscle flesh can feel. Like a monster in my closet, a delusion of the mind. Let's both go behind the door and see what we can find.
Thank you. That is a wonderful introduction to my sermon. Which is entitled Spiritual ? And the reason I have that question mark is because I have avoided talking much about spirituality from the pulpit because it is such an ill-defined term. So ill-defined that it becomes meaningless unless those using it clearly, specifically, and consistently explain what they mean by it. So for me, the word is more nebulous even than the word God, which in ordinary use at least refers to a conscious, powerful entity whom some believe is the eternal creator and controller of everything. Usually when someone says God, that's what they mean. Not always. But spiritual lacks a common association, although it's often used as if we all know exactly what it means. If one tells a friend, for example, I heard a very spiritual song at church today, the friend might think it was a song about the glory of God, or a song that was emotionally moving, or one that was intellectually stimulating, or that their friend heard a song that originated from African American slaves, or something else entirely. Looking to dictionaries for its meaning only compounds the problem. There are so many possible definitions, including conflicting definitions, that a dictionary search only proves the point, that those using the term and those hearing it may not understand each other even if they think they do. Additionally, many of the definitions define spiritual by using it as part of its own definition, which is supposed to be taboo among lexicographers. What they are doing in these cases is defining the term extensionally by pointing to examples of what the term is supposed to refer to, rather than defining it intentionally by referring to the qualities that make something spiritual. This, I believe, is because the term is too vague to do so. For example, Oxford Dictionary defines spiritual as relating to or affecting the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. Relating to or affecting the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. Then uses it in the following sentence: I am responsible for his spiritual welfare. Now, explaining that the word is the opposite of material and physical things is helpful, but simply telling us that spirit or soul are different than something else doesn't tell us anything that is inherently true about either. Is everything that is non-physical spiritual? And what, when it comes right down to it, is not physical? Even thoughts and beliefs are produced by our brains. The ancients believed that breath and wind and air were actions of invisible spirits. This is what spirit means, breath, which is why it's the root of words like respiration. Expiration refers to those who have stopped breathing, who have expired. According to Genesis, the Lord God formed the man of the dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living creature. The Spirit animates us. In fact, anima, since they use spirit and soul, spirit is the breath, anima is the soul. That's the Latin word for soul. So hence this example of spiritual welfare is really as meaningless as the term for spiritual. We still don't know what it means. Does it mean baptizing an infant in the right religion to care for their spiritual welfare, as Catholics do? For them, that is care for the spiritual welfare. Or does it mean waiting to baptize an adult who freely chooses to be baptized, as many Protestants do? Or does it mean freeing one from the trappings of established religion altogether, as William James suggested 100 years ago in his Varieties of Religious Experience? Or does it mean orchestrating a religious service in which participants have an emotional experience? Or does it refer to one of many other possibilities? Merriam-Webster's first definition is similar to that of Oxford's. Spirituality is relating to, consisting of, or affecting the spirit in corporeal spiritual needs, and is inadequate for the same reasons. It uses the very word it attempts to define as part of its definition, and as with spiritual welfare, giving us no idea what is supposed to be meant by incorporeal spiritual needs. But today, thanks to the 1774 discovery by the Unitarian chemist and theologian Joseph Priestley, we now know air is not an entity with a mind of its own, but is a chemical compound composed of oxygen, the most abundant element on Earth. I wonder if, upon announcing his discovery, some told Priestley that he was too intellectual and that calling in this invisible element atomic number 8 wasn't very spiritual. So here are some of the many definitions of spiritual found in Oxford, Merriam-Webster, Cambridge dictionaries, as well as from dictionary.com. 22 of them, in addition to those I've already mentioned. 1, relating to religion or religious belief, the tribe's spiritual leader. 2, not concerned with material values or pursuits. 3, relating to sacred matters. 4, spiritual songs. 5, ecclesiastical and spiritual authority rather than lay or temporal. 6, concern with religious values. 7, related or joined in spirit, our spiritual home. 8, relating to supernatural beings or phenomenon. 9, relating to or involving spiritualism, spiritualistic. 10, relating to deep feelings and beliefs, especially religious beliefs. 11, of or relating to the mind and intellect. 12, traditional ways of life fulfilling both economic and spiritual needs. 13, a type of religious song originally developed by African Americans in the U.S. 14, relating to the inner character of a person, the group's spiritual leader. 15, relating to or consisting of spirit, incorporeal. 16, of or relating to the spirit or soul as distinguished from the physical nature, a spiritual approach to life. 17, closely akin in interest, attitude, outlook, the professor's spiritual air in linguistics. 18, of or relating to spirits or to spiritualists, supernatural or spiritualistic. 19, characterized by our suggesting predominance of the spirit, ethereal or delicately refined. She is more of a spiritual type than her rowdy brother. 20, of or relating to the spirit as the seat of the moral or religious nature. 21, of or relating to sacred things or matters, religious, devotional, sacred. And 22, of or belonging to the church, ecclesiastical, Lord's, spiritual, and temporal. Wow, that didn't help. That didn't help clarify matters. So which of these many definitions is meant by the word spiritual when it's ordinarily used? Does it refer to religious persons, ideas, rituals, and songs? Does it refer to those who gather for seances to communicate with the dead? Does it refer to supernatural events, to disembodied, non-physical events? Does it refer to an emotional experience or to an intellectual experience? Does it refer to connection to those who share common beliefs or share a similar interest or attitude? Does it refer to traditional ways, doing things the ways of our ancestors? Does it refer to a belief in God or gods? Does it refer to a belief in an intelligent and benevolent universe? These questions explain why I am reluctant to use the word myself and why I've not given a sermon on the subject in the past. I like to speak about topics that I can study and gain a competent understanding of. When it comes to spirituality, I could go off in 1,000 different directions and still not be able to give an adequate explanation of it, or at least not a comprehensive explanation of it. So here I will only concentrate on the reasons that I don't talk about it much, why I sometimes recoil a little when others do, and why I prefer to use other language instead, like awe and wonder. Having already discussed the vagueness of the term, which is why I don't often use it, unless explaining what I mean by it in a particular instance, I will move on to why I have some negative feelings around the word. And this is largely due to my experiences and concerns as a liberal Unitarian, both as a liberal Unitarian minister, of which let me back up. As a liberal and a Unitarian minister, both of which are rooted in the primacy of reason and empiricism. Okay? Liberalism and our liberal religion are rooted in the primacy of reason and empiricism. To me, this means the beliefs that we hold and the claims we make, even about things we're uncertain of, ought to be rooted in logic and evidence, sound thinking. So if being more spiritual really means being less intellectual, if it is stated to disguise one's anti-intellectualism, then it troubles me, and I'm often offended by the suggestion that a baseless way of thinking should be considered more sound than a rational and scientific one. Okay, that's my religion. That's why I'm in this church. I may be wrong, but that's why I'm here. So reality is another quality of liberalism and our liberal religion. Liberalism is a means of coping with reality so that we do not delude ourselves. Like the song said. They help, as the Unitarian Universalist Association bylaws now tenuously states, to warn us against idolatries of mind and spirit. Again, I'm not sure what is meant by spirit, but I'm glad that the UUA holds, at least for now, that even our so-called spiritual beliefs must be tempered by reason and science. There has long been a tension in our liberal religion between its uniquely intellectual disposition and those who would prefer it to become just another so-called spiritual religion, although few ever directly explain what they mean by this. Just this week, I heard an intelligent presentation critical of Unitarianism's intellectual approach to religion and to life in general. It was further suggested the solution to this age-old problem with Unitarianism is to refashion our religious services so that we hear the same message each week. A message about the centrality of emotion and personal experience. And that our services be orchestrated by our ministers and music directors to arouse particular emotional experiences that get us out of our heads. And it was suggested that if we did this, people would come to our services in droves, and that we would not only save our dying churches, but the entire world in the process. Because people will be enraptured in feeling and experience free from the cold, meaningless, and pointless impacts of reason. There may be some truth to this, given the global success of Pentecostalism in recent decades, which is about the only religion that's growing while many others are in decline. According to a now 18-year-old Pew Research report, by all accounts, Pentecostalism and related charismatic movements represent one of the fastest growing segments of global Christianity. And given the number of the more recent online articles claiming the same thing, I'd say this remains true today. According to a 2014 Pew study of 18 countries, Latin America, which has traditionally been Catholic, has the fastest growing number of Pentecostals today. Worldwide, 1 in 4 Christians consider themselves such. 1 in 4. So I bring this up because Pentecostal services are all about mindless emotional experiences, which they define as the utmost kind of spiritual experience, like faith healing and speaking in tongues, stirred up by what participants believe is the Holy Spirit. That's why they call it Pentecost, right? The day of Pentecost, the Spirit descending upon them, filling them with all these powers. So if this is really the kind of experience that people want, and apparently there are a lot of people who do, there are plenty of opportunities besides the Unitarian Church that are probably better at it than we are already. So let's just let our small religion continue dying, if that's really what's happening to it, But I don't believe it is. It's true that Ralph Waldo Emerson famously referred to Unitarianism as a corpse-cold religion. But that was almost 200 years ago. That's a very long time to be at death's door. Even for those claiming it must fundamentally change before it's too late. It's always urgent. Fundamentally change our religion or it's going to be too late. We've been saying this for 200 years. To me, our greatest challenge is staying the course and remaining true to our historic roots and values in the wake of constant pressure to become a religion of emotion and superstition. To revert, if you will, to be a religion of emotion and superstition, which is often what I believe is meant by this complaint that our religion isn't very spiritual. And this is the reason I find myself so often troubled by the word, because over the years I've not only heard people complain that our religion isn't spiritual enough, but I myself am not very spiritual. Yet as usual, those I've asked struggle to define what they mean. And I believe what they really mean is not that I should be more spiritual, but less intellectual. By which I mean less grounded in reason and empiricism, and to talk less about real matters. About real matters. About reality. It's almost redundant to say real matters, right? If you're a materialist, because it's the same word. Matter, in some of the definitions you'll recall, is the opposite of spiritual, right? Non-corporeal, material. By the way, the root of the word matter is the same as the root of the word mother. Okay? It used to be that wisdom, I'm getting off script here, wisdom in the Hebrew scriptures was the word referring to the feminine expression of God. Even though God was considered male, God was an invisible presence nobody could see or comprehend, but we could see what God leaves behind. We could see God's presence in the creation. The creation, the material, is the mother. And so you want to be spiritual or you want to be real? Because the mother's being neglected, right now. And that's real, and she should inspire us, to me, more than anything else. But, let me come back around. I mean, it's just so important to understand the etymology of words, right? So we understand, Jung believed the words we use are unconscious. They have unconscious meaning. So delving into the etymology, even people will say, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean that. Well, yeah, but Jung would say, that's what you said. That's the word that came up. And it has some really ancient archetypal implications. So when we talk about matter, it doesn't matter. We're dismissing material reality. Mater, Mother Nature, the great mother. So when you start talking about spirituality, which is a masculine term, the spear, it's a phallic symbol, it is the opposite of mater. Okay, let me get back. So I really draw this conclusion about what I suspect some mean when they say, I need to be more spiritual, or our religion needs to be more spiritual. Because this is really an ancient hostility that is provable. We can look at it. It's recorded in literature and counter-enlightenment philosophers. So hostility toward reason is something that liberalism has been contending with since its inception. And that's what brought about the end of the age of reason and even modernism. The age of modernism is over. We're in the age of postmodernism. Believe whatever you want. Doesn't matter what science and empiricism and reason tells us. Believe whatever you want. That's the age we're in. Oddly, it was Friedrich Schleiermacher, the 18th century theologian, who is often referred to as the father of liberal religion, who said that feeling is the essence of religion, which he defined as the consciousness of being absolutely dependent, or which is the thing of being in relationship to God, the longing to surrender oneself and be absorbed into a greater, the feeling of absolute dependence upon the infinite. He also said religion is not knowledge and science, and argued that religious beliefs and experiences should not be judged or encroached upon by the principles of science and physics. In his view, religion has its own validity and should be appreciated without being subjected to rational and scientific scrutiny. So Schleiermacher was theologically radical for his time. He embraced historical and critical interpretations of the Bible, emphasized individual religious experience, and was ecumenical in his approach. But I agree with historian Richie Robertson, who says it is his approach to religion where Schleiermacher bids farewell to the Enlightenment. For it requires what he called childlike passivity. For Schleiermacher, Robertson says, religion means abandoning claims to autonomy and accepting that one is utterly dependent upon something far greater than oneself. So he may be the father of liberal religion, but he is not the father of our liberal religion, which is founded upon the Enlightenment principles of reason, of science, of independence, of individualism, and a belief in universal truths that persist despite our particular feelings and subjective experiences. If the word spiritual is subterfuge for emotionalism, anti-intellectualism, and anti-individualism, I want no part of it. On the contrary, I consider the problem with our society today in general, and with Unitarian Universalism in particular, to be emotionalism and irrationalism. The problem is not that there is too much reason in science, but not enough. The problem is not that we need more people leaping over the pews, shouting nonsensical words, but fewer. And I further disagree that intelligent people aren't in touch with their feelings. Intelligent people are just as capable of being emotional and being emotionally mature as anyone else, if not more so, meaning that they are aware and in control of their own feelings and able to empathize and get along well with others. The dichotomy between reason and emotions is a false one. People who feel, think, and people who think, feel. They go hand in hand. Thoughts and feelings are part of the same process. They are not separate or segregated events. Thoughts cause us to feel, and feelings cause us to think. They are married, perhaps because they are just differing qualities of the same event. There are lots of creatures on this planet that have feelings and experiences, including cockroaches. But none can reason like we can. To treat this rare evolutionary gift as a curse, as an intruder upon our lives, seems as inexplicable as it does inexcusable. Yet I believe this is because too many of us are afraid to face reality on its own terms. And so we demean those things which require us to do so, like reason and science. We demean our intellectuals as being overly concerned about material and worldly matters, and elevate those obsessed with disembodied spirits, things for which there is no evidence, spiritual things like beliefs in almighty gods, in destiny, in a benevolent and intelligent universe that are keeping us safe from life's harsh realities. Be in the world, but not of it. The world is dukkha, suffering, so don't cling to it, don't believe in it, it's only an illusion. That's so spiritual. But to return to my earlier point, the association of spirituality with feelings is only one of many definitions. Again, thoughts themselves are also sometimes considered spiritual. Right? We can be inspired by ideas. It's also a term that refers to values and ethics, to social and cultural constructs like justice and human rights, as well as to religious beliefs and philosophical ideas about meaning, the nature of reality, and existential questions, all of which are subjects that I routinely speak about from the pulpit. It's about all I do talk about. So rather than trying to agree upon a definition of the word spiritual, it might be better to identify various kinds of spirits, of those different things that inspire us in different ways. Again, spirit shares the same root as the word spear and can be thought of in general as anything that spears us. Something that deeply penetrates us, that gets inside us, that inspires us, that possesses us. Spirits can be fleeting in this way. They can come and go, or they can stay with us our entire lives. They can be good spirits or bad spirits. We can get addicted to spirits, whether it's a bad ideology or to a bottle of booze. We can be overtaken by a collective spirit, a team spirit. Get into the spirit of things, the spirit of the age, like the spirit of 76. The list of possible spirits that move and motivate us is almost endless, which is why it still makes little sense to say someone isn't spiritual just because they aren't necessarily inspired by one's own spirits. That's an insult. Don't say that to somebody. It's not true. We're all animated by something. My spiritual experiences are grounded in things that are real. Not that I fully understand reality. I call myself a creation spiritualist because I'm inspired, I'm inspired by nature, as many of us are. This is why I love John Denver so much, and his hymns about Rocky Mountain highs and country roads and sunshine on my shoulders, to sail on a dream on a crystal clear ocean, to ride on the crest of a wild raging storm, and of senses being filled with real things like a night in the forest, the mountains in springtime, a walk in the rain, a storm in the desert, a sleepy blue ocean. These things, these sensual, hard realities, fill me with as much awe and wonder and joy and calm as any religion can. And it is because they are real, worldly, physical experiences that I am deeply compelled to use everything at my disposal, including especially reason and science, to seek and understand and commune and care for and with them. I resonate with those mystics of old like Meister Eckhart, who said, every creature is a word of God and a book about God. Every creature. And Hildegard of Bingen, who said, the word manifests itself in every creature. And Mechthild of Magdeburg, who said, the truly wise person kneels at the feet of all creatures. And the old rabbinic saying, creation is the infinite in the garb of the finite. To attend to creation is to attend to God. These are my spirits, the breath that moves and animates me. It's not about disembodied things, but about embodiment, including appreciation for this astonishing mass of cells in my body's cranium that allows me to think and wonder and contemplate the meaning of it all. I don't want to shut that off. As a great intellectual, Albert Einstein once said and understood, the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and all science. One to whom this motion is a stranger can no longer pause, stand wrapped in awe, is as good as dead. I do not agree that reason and physical reality are barriers to finding meaning, purpose, joy, truth, and wonder in life. On the contrary, they are the very processes that can bring us to our knees before the altar of life, that enable us to better cope with reality, to endure suffering, to pursue the world's mysteries and wonders, and to truly live by standing wrapped in awe. Thank you.
Please stand. Join me for our last hymn, O Come, Emmanuel, in the Christmas spirit. O come, Emmanuel, and with your captive children dwell. Give comfort to all exiles here, and to the aching heart bid cheer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as love to dwell. O come, you splendor very bright, as joy that never yields to might. O come and turn all hearts to peace, that greed and war at last shall cease. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as truth to dwell. O come, you dayspring, come and cheer our spirits by your presence
Hard Times by Maureen Killeran. No matter how weak or how frightened we may feel, we each have gifts that can make a difference in the world. In this coming week, may you do at least one thing to support the broken, to welcome the stranger, to celebrate what is worthy, and to do the work of justice and love. Be strong, be connected. Each day, act, so you may be a little more whole. Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom.
Shalom.